If you've been injured on the job, it's important to be educated on the laws that exist to protect you. Attorney Jim Higgins with the Higgins Firm recently sat down with me to explain. Hey Jim, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so if somebody is injured at work, what laws do they have to protect them?
Yeah, well, of course, what we normally think of and what our office handles is just the general workers' compensation laws. That work comp law is going to make sure that you get your medical bills covered, make sure you get a wage while you're off work, try to get you back. But the other section of laws that I think unfortunately a lot of times are missed is there's a lot of federal employment laws that most employees will have too. There's the Family Medical Leave Act, which if you qualify for, it saves your job for 12 weeks. Doesn't mean they have to pay you, but what it means is if you're out on disability and you can't work, they got to hold that job for you for 12 weeks,
right,
which is important for nowadays. The ADA, the Americans with Disability Act, is very important for a lot of my clients. If you have an injury that leaves you with a permanent disability and you could perform your job with a reasonable accommodation, maybe a chair, maybe change the position of your desk, well, they've got to do that. An employer has to do that. They have to make this accommodation to work around that disability so we can keep people at work. So we've got our state laws, but we also have these federal laws that are really important.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about what your office does to make sure these people, your clients, are treated legally and fairly.
Sure. Yeah, well, we have different sections. So when we get a workers' compensation case, it comes in our office and we're litigating that case or working on that case to make sure our clients are treated fairly. If there's ever a moment where our client loses their job, has their hours cut, gets punished at work for some reason, then it immediately goes to a review at our employment law section, which is all these folks do. Right. And they'll go through that case and meet with the client and see if there's been a Americans with Disability Act violation, if there's been a Family Medical Leave violation, if there's a overtime violation, if people weren't getting their wages right. And if it's there, we have both of these sections that we can do all we can to make sure that someone's treated fairly. And that's truly what all my clients want. They're not there out of greed. They're there because they've got a family support, they have a job, they want to keep that job, they just want to be treated fairly, and there's some good employers out there, and there's some bad ones. And so if we have a bad employer, then all of these sections kind of work in concert to make sure that our folks are treated the way the law says they should be treated.
And real quickly, when should they call you?
Well, if I will say, if it's a small injury and you're doing fine, you may not need me. You could call me immediately, and I'll tell folks a lot of that. You don't need a lawyer. If the more serious it is, the more likely you're not going to be able to do your job, the more likely there's going to be a large loss of income, then you need to call us, and we'll be glad to talk to you and meet with you and see if you would like for us to come in and represent you on one of these cases.
Right. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
The Higgins Firm is serving Tennessee. Give them a call at 615-353-0930 or check them out at higginsfirm.com.